नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम 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 अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. After a long time, new faces, few faces. So, कैसा रहा आप लोगों का न्यू ईयर? बाकी सब ऑलमोस्ट आई थिंक जनवरी 3rd वीक में हम लोग, एंड स्टिल 2026. So I think I met yesterday with all of you at 222nd Preda Festival at ISKCON Chowpatty. And it was by far, of course all the classes are always great, but I had a different realization at Prabhuji's class. Amazing. And I think today we have a marathon also, right? And I think you guys, I think only Gangadhar Prabhu, you participated in the marathon? Nobody else? Next year?
It was from my office, that's why.
Oh, is that so? Okay. अच्छा, नाइस. इसके पहले कभी आपने किसी मैराथन में पार्ट लिया है? So, मैराथन एक्चुअली, सो आई थिंक इट्स वेरी कोइंसिडेंट. मुझे एक्चुअली पता नहीं था टाटा मैराथन करके ये ऑर्गेनाइज हो रहा है आज, और मेरा क्लास भी एक्चुअली समर लेस मैराथन के ऊपर ये लाइफ के. एंड वेल, इन द मॉर्निंग व्हेन आई वाज हैविंग माय भक्ति शास्त्री क्लास, एंड आई हर्ड फ्रॉम हिज ग्रेस कृष्ण गौर प्रभुजी very beautiful statement about today's marathon. And he said that Mumbai runs a marathon today and thousands of people would be running. So he said Mumbai runs a marathon today and thousands of people would be running today. For what? For what? It could be, the answer would be individual's perspective, individual's reason. Then he said later, you know what? Human life is also the greatest marathon, where the body is the track, the mind is the weather, and the bhakti is the breath. So while running in this marathon of life, don't stop breathing. And he said later that just keep breathing and run towards Krishna. So ultimately, if breathe is your bhakti, which means that in the marathon of this life you want to run, then you need to have a breathe, and only that oxygen supply is the bhakti, and then only with that oxygen supply of bhakti you can reach towards Krishna. So whenever you run or you walk towards any place, you should know where exactly you have to go, the destination. Otherwise mind itself runs a lot. Even we start running a lot, तो फिर क्या ही होना है फिर तो. It's quite strange. I was like quite surprised to hear from him all this. And you know, that's what, when great minds they speak something about, it's quite fascinating, which even we can't fathom about it. So I just thought to let's start our class with that note. So today we are going to learn what? ABCD. Okay, good. So basically, the title of the class, as I have written, the 4 unique gifts awarded to man, humans, basically ABCD. But when I was preparing this now, and I was just reflecting back some of the notes, and how strange, we were when we were a small kid, we went to school, right? And the first letters that we learned in the convent school or maybe English school is that A, B, C, D, E. Huh? And now we are grown up and we are still learning today ABCD. What's the difference? So basically the difference is a lot. When we were kid, when we went to school, we learned ABCD without having the sense of maturity and sincerity of our life, right? When you were a kid, you didn't have that maturity enough, na? You just went, mama ne bhej diya, papa ne bhej diya, just seekhna hai, sab seekh rahe ho, right? Did you have a maturity ki nahi, I'm a very grown up child, I have to learn, I have to be an engineer, doctor, ya aise karna? Nahi. And you were not sincere also. I remember the only reason I'm existing today, I speak so English well, because my mom, they are uneducated. I think she never went to school. She went to school, but somehow she has a different pastime. She did some play with her father, and that's why she used to lie and she never went to school. My father was somewhere, I think he learned around 8th standard. So when it happened to put me in a school, my father like कि कैसे हिंदी मीडियम में डाल देते हैं, हिंदी सिखा देंगे वैसे. Mama says नहीं, मेरा बेटा बड़ा होके he should speak in English and he should start conversing, because towards our neighbor society there was some English classes हुआ करता था. And I was very lethargic person, that I need always a company to walk in the life. I think बचपन से ही है. So first he put me to the school, college, tuition classes and all that part. मैं जाके सिर्फ सो जाता था, खाता था और सो जाता था. फिर धीरे धीरे when my younger sister she came into life, तो उससे भी मेरे साथ भेजा गया so that मैं पढ़ सकूँ करके. और वो आती थी, वो सो जाती थी और मैं फिर पढ़ने लगा था करके. मेरे को अरे वो सो रही करे, फिर बाकी लोग तो आई वॉज ग्रोन अप थोड़ा किड, एंड वो फिर सोती थी, वो रोती थी, ऐसा करती थी. और उस चक्कर में फिर मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा पढ़ना सीखा. फिर बाद में ऐसा हुआ कि फिर टीचर ने बोला आपके दोनों बच्चों में से इस बच्चे को इंग्लिश में डालो, इस बच्चे को हिंदी में, बिकॉज वो सोती है, पढ़ती है, कुछ इसको समझ में नहीं आता है. एंड दैट्स हाउ आई स्टार्टेड ग्रेजुअली लर्निंग इंग्लिश, एंड दैट्स हाउ द रिजल्ट इज टुडे. So I was just contemplating about that, like how life unfolds. You never imagine. So when we were kid, we learned ABCD, but without the sense of maturity, without the sense of any sincerity. But today, when we are trying to all come together to learn the ABCD, we all somewhere have some sense of maturity. We are somewhere grown up adults, and we also are sincere. That's why we are here, na? सिंसियर नहीं होते तो कोई आता नहीं ना फिर. सो वाई वी आर मैच्योर एंड सिंसियर? बिकॉज वी नो द पर्पस ऑफ आवर लाइफ. दैट्स द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. सो बिफोर आई ब्रिंग यू टू द ह्यूमन लाइफ्स ABCD, लेट मी वॉक यू थ्रू द सिमिलैरिटीज एंड डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन 2 मेजर स्पीशीज. कैन यू नेम? इस संसार के 2 प्रमुख स्पीशीज कौन है? ह्यूमंस. अच्छा ठीक है, ह्यूमंस एक स्पीशीज, ठीक है. और एक कौन है ह्यूमंस के अगेंस्ट में? एनिमल्स. करेक्ट, ह्यूमंस एंड एनिमल्स. अच्छा, कैन यू गाइज आइडेंटिफाई व्हाट आर दोज कॉमन थिंग्स बिटवीन ह्यूमंस एंड एनिमल्स? सॉरी, थोड़ा बैड लगेगा ह्यूमंस को एनिमल्स के साथ कंपेयर करना. आई नो वी आर वेरी मच ग्रोन अप इंटेलिजेंट इवोल्यूशनरी मंकी. Because that's how the Darwin's theory said that we are evolved from our ancestors were, by the way, monkeys. Okay, that is just even there were some American Society of Education which completely discarded, prohibited the Darwin's theory. They haven't accepted it yet because they called it just a fictional. It doesn't have any science-backed data. But thanks to our Indian education system, we had to adopt it. We learned and all that part. So yeah, can you just bring out some similarities between humans and animals? How are we very similar to animals?
We need food, shelter.
Acha, we need food, we need shelter.
Yes.
So animals also need food,
Yes.
animals also need shelter,
Yes.
but they don't build houses, no?
Well, actually, some of them live in trees or they build their own nest or farm
Right,
their
right,
trees.
right.
We can consider that.
Yes, yes. So we need food, they also need food, we need shelter, they also need shelter. What else? Hmm? Okay, you got the exact point. Okay, ahar hai maithu nidra. Okay, what else? That's it?
Affection with something.
Affection with something. Point to be noted, my lord. He has chosen a right word. Affection for something. How can you say that animals have affection?
Well, majorly animals like wolves stay means huge groups.
Okay, packs of wolves.
Yes, and for them to survive in maybe snowy regions where they live in pack, they need to take care of each other because every individual has his own role. That some wolves might scout, some are specialized in hunting and all.
Good.
So they are affectionate with each other. That if he survives, I will survive easily.
Nice, wonderful. Actually, humans, the animals, they do have affection as comparative to humans. Humans nowadays, they are having the very. Humans nowadays are the most endangered species when it comes to the affection. Endangered species, you know, the animals which are almost extinct in the world. We are existing, but we are extincting also on the soft touch. So yeah, a very bright example of affection would be a dog and his master. Very common you see. इसलिए बोलते हैं ना, कुत्ता पाल लो बट इंसान मत पालो, क्योंकि कुत्ता वफादार होता है, इंसान बेवफा होते हैं. That's how people say. Okay, good. So I think my audience is somewhere great knowing things. Can you also identify what are the differences? Okay, we have this thing similar, A is equal to B or A is equivalent to B. Then what is A not equal to B? What are the differences between humans and animals? Intelligence. Okay, thinking capability and intelligence animals have, we don't have. Acha, we have and animals don't have. Okay, what else? Himesh, do you have any answer? No? That's it? Only the difference, eh? Let's pray to God, then God will also give them intelligence and thinking capacity.
We have more ways to express ourselves compared to animals.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Then to your surprise, the way you act with dog and cats, the pets basically,
Yes.
they will act 10 times better than you and they can express 10 times better than your emotions and feel. You can in fact check a lot of YouTube videos there, the pets that they have kept now, it's such a, they seem to be a living person rather than just being an animal. So हम थोड़ा मार खा जाते हैं. अब आजकल if you see people generally nowadays they don't express it at all. प्रभुजी कैसा है? अच्छा. प्रभुजी कैसा है? अच्छा. No, they don't have an expressive emotions भी नहीं रह गया है. Okay, so I take a benefit of doubt कि थोड़ा सा हमने पता है कि thinking and intelligence is what makes us different from animals. I hope that I should prove you all wrong, but ठीक है, let's see. So animals and birds, as you said, animals and birds, they build home, they build nests, they hunt for food, they eat and they feed their young ones. Okay, they sleep, they rest, they mate and bring new generations like us. They migrate also. You see birds, they travel across the continents and they also fight with other animals and birds, right? Similarly, we humans also, we build our home for living and we also find our nest for rented apartments. Our rented apartment is nothing but a nest only. And we get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we take a bath, we cook, we clean ourselves, we eat, we drink, we feed our family members, we swim, we exercise. So does fish also swims in the water. And we also get ready for the day. Maybe we go to school, colleges or for work. Then we watch TVs Then movies, do leisure activities, the entertainment part. By the way, animals also have an entertainment part, okay? And we also listen to music, okay? Shopping, social networking. Again, we also take good sleep, rest. We also made and bring new generations. We also, by the way, migrate from one city to another city, from one state to another state, and then nowadays from one country to another country for a better living or for a better life. How strangely obvious, na? How come we have similar way of living that of an animal? Isn't that strangely obvious? But लोगों को strangely obvious, you know why I'm using this word? लोगों से पता है तो भी लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता. बेसिक्स है ना, यू डोंट हैव टू बी फिलोसॉफिकल पर्सन कि भाई ये चीज़ समझने के लिए बेसिक बच्चा भी जान जाएगा. But people still they can't understand because this is a major difference. So the basic commonalities between us and them is what she said is seed, sleeping, enjoying, eating, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. Animals, they eat from grounds. Humans, they eat on the tables in the sophisticated forks, spoons, dishes, and that plates. Animals, they sleep on streets. Humans, they sleep on cozy and comfy beds. By the way, the bird builds the nest. It's 10 times more cozier and comfier than the mattresses what we use in our sleep bed के लिए. Try करना है एक बार किसी you know who have been villages में you know husk जो वो गेहूँ का धान का वो जब सब हो जाता है husk जो निकलता है या जो उसके रेसिड्यूज रहते हैं you lie down that and then इस पे इतना soft cushion लगता है ना वैसा you can't get that highly paid mattresses भी वो. And birds what they do they only pick this and एक ये piece and they build their entire nest. और उनके nest को देखा कभी I was जहाँ रहता था ना मैं ऐसे मेरे विंडो के सामने एक पेड़ गया था and there was a nest of a bird I think I don't remember cuckoo or some was there and she used to pick करके ऐसे बहुत बनाया था and I don't know you pick a hay also but वो लोग कैसे उसको fix करते हैं ना when you touch human touch ना बहुत soft लगता है. It's as soft as like cotton wool. और surprise की क्या abilities भगवान ने दी है. Animals by the way yeah they have an affection. They also have a romantic relationship. Have you heard about it? They also have a romantic relationship. They also have affairs with multiple partners. You can see a dog. You don't know which family lineage they belong each other. They also co-opulate and reproduce their new generations, the young ones in the open. Humans, we also have a romantic relationships in our life, nowadays affairs, and by the time we get married, we also have multiple relationships and partners. And on the pretext of our societal norms and beliefs or reasons, we have nowadays abortion as a facility, birth control ways, and then we also co-opulate, we also reproduce, and we have our family generations to come. But in the closed doors, what we can say is that we do everything in the closed doors and animals do in the open doors. But just to bring you some light is that nowadays the culture has been completely downtrodden in such a way on the pretext of being freedom, being open in the society to express one's right. Even humans have been co-opulating and reproducing in the open ways as animals. So hardly we don't have any differentiating factor there. Animals, they also defend themselves with their bare jaws, nails and fangs and claws. Humans, we also defend we defend ourselves from ourselves also and from the people we live with. How I'll tell you. We build fencing around the building, okay? We keep security guards, okay? Then we have CCTV camera nowadays everywhere. Then we have law and governance, the police. Why? We need to protect ourselves from the miscreants of the society. Maybe there would be goons or some uncivilized person who may come up any day and then do anything with us. So we have to have a law, governance and everything. So we are protecting ourselves with ourselves only, humans with humans. Getting it? Then we have now even developed advanced missiles, bombs, and luckily, fortunately, or you can say unfortunately, we have tested also to see if we can get protected. We can get the nowadays what we are experiencing, the world wars. We have seen World War One, World War Two, and now the Ukraine and Russia conflict, Iran and Israel conflict, and everything, and even our neighboring countries being very hostile. So between them and us, the basic drives of seed, it remains the common, the sleeping, enjoying, eating, and defending part. All we can say is that we are just living a sophisticated way of animal life. कोई फर्क नहीं है. We are also an animal life, but very sophisticated. Tie, boot, suit, that's it. That's only difference. Now, let's discuss the main differences between humans and animals. As she pointed out, the difference is that the thinking and the intelligence. Na? Okay, I knew this. If that was the case, then watch Avatar. Have you seen the teaser of trailer of Avatar? I watched the first part in 2007 or 8 when I was in 8th standard. That's it. आज तक और कुछ नहीं. फिर I went and Krishna consciousness, so I started exploring our avatars, the Avatar and everything. Vaishnavas can only understand क्या है ये. So actually humans didn't even invent intelligence from zero. We discovered and copied patterns that already existed in nature. Okay? We call it today as technology, right? We are living in a very technological advanced era. But you know what? Nature has been running since ages on this, and it is known as biology for millions of years. What we call today as technology, the nature already had that in the form of a biology. Let's understand, as you said, that it may seem the only humans have the logical thinking capacity. They can think, they can logically inquire, reason, they can compute advanced coding. Okay, we have also developed a lot of AI tools, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, and so and so. Nowadays Insta पे पूरा AI चल रहा है. And we also speak and solve problems. But my friends, animals can also do up to a certain extent the same thing. मैंने बहुत सारा गूगल करके बहुत सारे रिसर्च करके मैंने कुछ चीज़ें लाई हैं, तो I'll just hear it कि कैसे they have also developed this whole part. Okay, and because each species by God's grace they have been given some special intelligence, some special skills. But the only problem is that they only use those intelligence and skills only for seed activities. Let's how and look at what are those animals and how they are advanced than even us. Cats. They sneak into kitchen undetected like a human thief and quietly drink milk without being caught. कि तिजोरी से पैसा चोरी हो गया, पुलिस को पता ही नहीं चला. Cat has some intelligence to drink a milk without being caught. Vultures, they spot corpses from miles away. They have a even brighter vision than what we can see using a binocular. Cheetah, they race at 140 km per hour. Fastest that we can drive even on our express highways. 80 पे वो बैन लग जाता है, 80 100 पे पहुँचते हालत ख़राब हो जाती है. बट चीताज 140 km per hour. Dogs, they smell smart and they have a sharp hearing sound. Have you seen रात को आप सब सो जाते तो डॉग हाउल बाक करते रहते हैं. हमें क्यों भौंक रहा है, इसको सोना नहीं है क्या, खुद की नींद खराब कर रहा है नहीं, और हमारी नींद खराब कर रहा है, खुद तो चांसेस होता है. But actually they hear some very sound which we can't, our senses can't hear it. Even देखा रहेगा the police or the detectives, they use sniper that all dogs and everything, they smell so strongly. हमें बाजू में दूध भी जल गया और चावल भी जल गया तो पता नहीं चलता है. वो तो छोड़, बाजू के घर में आग भी लग गई तो घर का दरवाज़ा बंद ही रहता है अभी भी. So getting it, fishes, they sense predators. How you know? By water's vibrations. And that's the same technology our submarines are using, sonar. You know how exactly sonar functions? Migrating birds, by the way, they can communicate the directions across continents. So what we have telecommunication, they have the telepathy. Getting it? So aren't they advanced? अभी और भी मेरे पास है, सुनो. Ravens, ये word सुना है कभी? It's a form of a big crow, R-A-V-E-N-S. Ravens or ravens, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's a form of a big crow. Ravens can plan ahead for events not happening now, like a human intelligence. How we plan? And they can choose a tool or some way of functioning to reward themselves later, and they can also delay that plan up to 17 hours in their experiments. Okay, like they have their own future planning brain. And for humans it would sound like time management or delayed gratification, which we are struggling with today. Then honeybees, आप लोग सुन के शॉकिंगली थोड़ा ये हो जाएगा. Honeybee literally they dance ना, they dances direction. So her waggle dance, जो honeybee that is known as the waggle dance, they tell other bees how far and which way the food is. Basically they provide the direction and distance to a food source, like a living Google Maps made for a movement. हम Google Maps बेचते हैं, bees dance maps बेचते हैं. So we developed GPS now very late when this all creatures existed, right? I have one more. Bottlenose dolphins. Dolphins सुना आप लोगों ने, देखा भी रहेगा. How smartest you can say ना, थोड़ा intelligence में they come to a human side में very close. Bottlenose dolphins, they have signature whistles. Have you heard about signature whistles? So they have unique calls and they use for identity. Almost like each dolphin carries their personal ringtone, and when they make that sound na, then other dolphins say that's me, that's me. So we have a ringtone, but they had already this ringtone way back. Again amazingly, ants. देखा चींटियाँ वो एक ही लाइन में ही क्यों जाती है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आता था. बचपन में लोग जाते थे ना, मैं जानबूझ के ऐसा उंगली कर देता था या कुछ लकड़ी लगा देता कि जाए, फिर भी वो लोग एक ऊपर से चले जाते थे. फिर मैंने उनका डायरेक्शन भटकाने के लिए कुछ स्वीट रख के ऐसा कर देता. एक को रखने का ना तो फिर सब ऐसे से घूम घूम के जाने वाला. ये लोग ऐसे क्यों चिपके हुए तो नहीं है. स्मॉल किड, इवन वी सी टुडे एंड्स के लाइन देखो, सूंघते 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 पहुँच जाएंगे. So ants, they collectively they find efficient routes and using some scent that is known as pheromone, they leave a scent trails, and by smelling those scents, the ant colony they naturally strengthens the shortest and best possible path. Later we humans, when we got to know this, we copied this idea into optimizing our algorithms, and that is known as ant colony optimization, ACO. From a tech background, people would come to know. And it is a family of algorithms and it is used in optimizing the problems. So हम root optimization को coding problem बोलते हैं, ants इसको pheromone से solve कर देते हैं. सोचो advanced है वो लोग हमसे भी. There is another creature, slime mold. I'm sure you must have not heard about it. Slime mold, it's a multicellular organism. You have heard? Oh yes, see, I have someone who can understand, so you can relate it now. It's a multicellular, it's a unicellular also, it's a multicellular organism. They don't have a brain, by the way, okay? And they grew networks in the lab setup to reach food. So efficient network was that scientists compared it to a smart transport planning system, and it was compared to Tokyo's rail layouts. Now Japan is being so advanced in everything, they compared their smart planning to the Tokyo's rail layouts, and the scientists said that they discovered this as a very cost efficient network construction and smart transportation planning. They don't have brain, by the way. So slime mold के पास brain नहीं है, but planning they do like an IT engineer. Getting it? There is another one, two more. You know, macrotermous termites. I'm not sure you are familiar with this. So the studies of macrotermous termite mounds, they create a mound, and when they studied the scientists, they found that the structures they build, it is used. They build the structures to promote gas exchange, ventilation, regulation of airflow, and temperature, climate regulation. this creature, tiny creature, they build a mound and they have all these facilities. And when biomimicry engineers and scientists and doctors, the researchers, students, they went, they studied this, all that, and now they're adapting that concept to build low energy building design and also doing climate control activity without electricity. We have less intelligence. Okay. Last. मतलब हम एसी को मॉडर्न कंफर्ट बोलते हैं, टर्माइट माउंट्स ना कंफर्ट को आर्किटेक्चर बना दिया उन लोगों ने. थिंक अबाउट इट, दैट्स अ रियल आर्किटेक्चर. अब बोलोगे कोडिंग वोडिंग बताओ ना प्रभु जी, ए आई तो हमने ही किया ना, बाकी तो लोगों ने नहीं किया ना. जस्ट फॉर योर काइंड इन्फॉर्मेशन, आई गॉट समथिंग ऑन ए आई ऑल्सो. Practical particle swarm optimization, PSO. So some AI style optimization methods are like particle swarm optimization. They were inspired by how birds they flock together and how fish they school together. Fish na, when they move together, it is known as schooling together. Okay, hum school jate bola schooling, it's a different English word. Birds they flock together, fishes they school together, and nature showed us the pattern and we coded that pattern in terms of some coding. So हम AI को नया समझते हैं, पर नेचर में स्वयं इंटेलिजेंट पुराना है, हम बस उसको कॉपी कर रहे हैं. So what I'm trying to say or share with you all is that there's no much difference between us and them when it even comes to intelligence and thinking capacity. Okay? Quite strange ना, quite थोड़ा astonishing, mind boggling लगा. मेरे को लगा कि अरे वाह ऐसा भी होता है करके. So all we are living a life using our human intelligence and some advancement today in science and technology only for those seed activities. And you must, I think it's so obvious now when I travel across Chowpatty to almost Kharghar, then to Badlapur, to Ambernath, all that area, and even to various, even I travel for my business purposes also, Bangalore or Pune and all that area. I was quite surprised कि the facilities are growing so in advance now. हर नुक्कड़ पे lavish तुमको खाने का रेस्टोरेंट खुलते मिलेगा. Mall is filled with 90% clothing apparels only. और हर मॉल का दूसरा सेक्टर और जो भी उनका शॉप का ये कपड़े से ही भरा है. I was surprised, इतने कपड़े का शोरूम करके क्या करोगे? They have varieties. So in order to enjoy our lifestyle, we have so many varieties. और आजकल देखते रहो कि खाने के लिए देखते अरे यहाँ पे टेस्टी मिलता है, चलो यहाँ पे जाते हैं. एक नया रेस्टोरेंट खुला, वहाँ पे जाते हैं. वी हैव दिस होटल, वी हैव दैट होटल. तो ये बढ़ रहा है. एंड द पेस एट विच वी आर एडवांसिंग टू दैट थिंग, वी कैन जस्ट कॉल आवरसेल्व्स एज अ ग्लोरीफाइड एनिमल. करते क्या बताओ? कमाते किस लिए यार? ये ना खाने और कमाने के लिए तो जीवन मिला है. दो पैसा कमाओगे तो ही खाओगे ना. बचाओ, अपने बीवी बच्चों पे उड़ाओ, थोड़ा सा सुखी रहो, थोड़ा सा खाओ, कभी पार्टी मनाओ, फिर कहीं थाईलैंड मलेशिया जाकर रहो, फिर घूमो. ये तो लाइफ है, क्या ही है फिर ना. यही करते, राइट? दैट इज़ वॉट पीपल आर लिविंग नाउ इट इज़. एंड द वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स दे विल अंडरस्टैंड, सैटरडे संडे मिल जाए, बस वीकेंड पार्टी पे चला जाए हम लोग. ऐसा हो जाता है. बट our Vedas, our scriptures, our Puranas, they show something else. The Mahabharata, however, throws light on our unique speciality. That's the only difference you will come to know between humans and animals. Of course, she was right. Ahara nitra bhayam maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samanaha. This is the verse from Mahabharata. It says that ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam. Ahar, food, nidra, sleep, bhaya, fear, that's where we defend. Maithunam, that is recreational activities. Samanyam. Samanyam means it is common. Common between whom? Etat pashubhir naranam. मैंने स्टार्ट कैसे किया था? What are the common and differences between humans and animals? मैं ह्यूमन्स को एनिमल्स से कंपेयर कर रहा था, बट महाभारत ऑलरेडी सेज यू आर ऑलरेडी हैव टू कंपेयर विद द एनिमल्स. पशुभीर नराणाम, गेटिंग इट? बिटवीन एनिमल्स एंड ह्यूमन्स. देन व्हाट इज दैट स्पेशल इन ह्यूमन्स? इट सेज दैट धर्मो हि तेषाम अधिको विशेषो. व्हाट इज स्पेशलिटी? इट इज धर्म. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Vishesh, that is the speciality. Okay, that is the speciality. Then what if there is no dharma? Animals, they don't have a dharma. Then it says dharma vihina. Dharmena vihina pashubhi samanaha. Then we are all like a pashu, animal. So dharma is actually the thing that makes us human. That is the speciality, and that is what we need to inquire about, our higher existence of our human life. And that's the reason even today, having amassed a huge wealth, have built grand properties, have a lavish lifestyle, have luxurious cars, wedding destinations, despite having all these facilities, we still find a vacuum in our heart. And that vacuum is nothing but the vacuum of love and happiness. And that was the only reason to find the real love and happiness. Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli, they left everything of lavish of London and they flew to India. And when everybody was rumoring that they are coming to meet Messi, but they went to land of Vrindavan to find the real love and happiness. That's a very modern example for the modern society today we have. So, coming back, most animals, they have a survival ABCD. So the class that we have a title of, the 4 unique gifts awarded to humans are ABCD. So does animals have also been awarded to with gifts, that is ABCD. That means always be chasing dinner. Okay, ABCD. And humans have a higher ABCD, that is ask, bliss, choose, and then gets determined. I'll write the full form later. So ask is nothing but ability for spiritual inquiry. B is for bliss, C is choices, D is determination. Human life is not only about upgrading your phone. It's all about upgrading your, what do you want to upgrade? Lifestyle? उन्होंने कितने जोर से सर हिलाया? हाँ, lifestyle upgrade करना है. Good. What do you think? If you can upgrade, then you can be a better person. Hint देता हूँ. You will find the answer in ISKCON. Be louder. Consciousness. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And so that you will find the answer in ISKCON. So, human life is not about upgrading your phones, softwares. It's all about upgrading your consciousness. हम रोज़ अपडेट करते हैं फ़ोन का सॉफ्टवेयर, पर अपनी सोच का वर्जन वही पुराना रहता है. कभी किया आप लोगों ने अपनी सोच का वर्जन अपडेट? इसका अपडेट आता ही नहीं है ना, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नहीं होता तो फिर आएगा कहाँ से? और आया भी तो ये सिस्टम ऐसा डिवाइस है कि लेता ही नहीं है, रिजेक्ट कर देता है. नो इंटरनेट. But in the Bhagavad Gita it says that human intelligence is meant for asking deeper questions. Questions like, who am I? Why am I here? What is the source? That is where we are meant for. Your life becomes powerful not when you get more things. People say ना, जितना हो सके कमाओ, बड़ा बनो, पैसे होने चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, and you become a powerful man. Be an influencer. But for your kind information, the life becomes powerful not when you get more things. It becomes powerful when you use the gifts you already have. Getting it? So the A is ability for spiritual inquiry. Just we saw animals also have an intelligence now. They also know how to find food, how to avoid danger, how to protect their territory. But their questions are usually limited to where is my food, where is my shelter, who is my enemy, that's it. And human beings, they can ask completely a different set of questions. Such as, who am I? Why do I exist? What is permanent? What is temporary? Is there a source behind everything? What will actually satisfy me? Don't you think that that should be your question? This ability to inquire beyond survival is the precious gift. Let's be honest, if you want to buy a phone, what do? You watch 10 reviews, then you compare camera, then battery, then performance, different NDTV ratings and gadget performance, all that we see. You check pros and cons, and you read comments from strangers whom you also don't know, and they comment like they are the influencers and sages. ऋषि मुनि की फ़ोन पे पूरा उन्होंने एकदम यही कर दिया है. Nowadays नए लॉन्च होते हैं फ़ोन पे कितने रिव्यूज़ आते हैं. There are a lot of techie people. But when it comes to the biggest purchase, your own life, people just copy whatever is trending. So why people want to upgrade their lifestyle? Because that is what trending in the society. Okay, for their life, people accept random influencers' advice. Instead, you heard yesterday, Shubha Vilas Prabhuji was saying that every other person who haven't seen a life is trying to be an influencer on Instagram, and people are following to get influenced by them. And he guy think that I can influence the society. Of course, he must be influencing in a very negative way, man. But that's not how we live, okay? I heard somewhere this, so I thought I'll share with you. मैं को ही ढूंढने निकला था दुनिया के बाज़ार में. मैं को ही ढूंढने निकला था दुनिया के बाज़ार में. पता चला मैं ही वो राज हूँ जो हर जगह छुपा हूँ. Quite deep, na? So spiritual inquiry begins when you stop asking what will impress people and start asking what will actually transform me, what will actually make me happy, what will actually give me that sense of satisfaction. Okay? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually encourages inquiry in a proper way. Actually, what I prepare now, it's a part 1. We will have a part 2 by end of this month, which will be a more detailed part, where this is just I'm creating a mood, I'm setting some tone of ABCD. इसका part 2 भी है मेरे पास, which I thought because it's a too lengthy class हो जाएगा नहीं तो फिर. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually encourages inquiry in a proper way, how to approach wisdom, ask sincerely, and learn all these things with humility. So spirituality is not don't ask questions. Spirituality is ask question correctly. Not random questioning to show off, not questioning to argue to someone, but questioning because you genuinely want to know the truth. Now, I want you all do a 60-second exercise. Everyone, either in your phone notes or just in your mind, just form one honest question. Not a dramatic question ki aisa waisa, just one honest question, a real question that you would ask if God is here, if Krishna is there in front of you. What would you ask to him? Take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, just close your eyes and think what would be that question that you would like to ask him right in the moment for a fraction of a second. Just close your eyes. Think about it. One question. Done? Everybody done? Would someone like to volunteer and say what you have asked to him? Anyone?
What is the real purpose for which I am in this material world with others?
Wow.
What should I do?
This he would ask if he meets Krishna or if Krishna comes in front of him. Anyone else? What would you ask if Krishna was there? What did you ask? Same, the real purpose of my existence. Okay. मेरे एग्जाम्स के मार्क्स बढ़ा दो मैं पास होंगी कि फेल होंगी मेरा जॉब गारंटी है कि नहीं Just kidding. Yeah, anything else? You won't ask anything? अरे कृष्णा है अर्थ में नहीं, गाना बजता है, राम आएंगे तो मैं आंगना सजाऊंगी। सी, हाँ बोलो बोलो। क्या कंप्लीट? आपने क्या पूछा? अगर भगवान कृष्ण आ जाएंगे तो क्या पूछोगे उनको? क्या क्वेश्चन है कुछ आपको? प्रश्न कुछ नहीं है ना? ही इज स्टिल लर्निंग इसलिए। एनीवन एल्स? यू? अच्छा, सोच के प्लानिंग हो गई, भगवान देख करके। ओके, गुड। व्हाट इज माई गोल इन लाइफ? समथिंग यू हैव टू शेयर? इधर क्यों भेजा? अरे वाह वाह, नाइस। So actually, see, why I ask you to all sense this part, because this are the only moment. Because we never think to ask this question to Krishna. Trust me, honestly, हाथ उठा के बोलो, कभी गोपीनाथ टेम्पल में अगर पूछो कृष्ण से, कृष्णा मुझे आपने धरती में क्यों भेजा? कभी पूछने नहीं मिला। बिकॉज लाइक यू सेड दैट द मोमेंट वी सी सच अ ब्यूटीफुल पर्सन वी गेट मेस्मराइज्ड, यू नो, सो मच कि भगवान को बस दर्शन मिले, वही बहुत बड़ी बात है। क्या पूछूंगा, अरे तो परमात्मा है, स्वयं भगवान है करके। बट हियर व्हेन वी सिट फार फ्रॉम डिस्कनेक्टेड एंड व्हेन वी कॉन्टेम्पलेट, ना, दिस आर द क्वेश्चंस दैट रियली कम्स फ्रॉम अ ह्यूमन माइंड. The questions, why do I feel empty even after my achievements? The questions, what is my real identity? The questions, how can I control my mind? It's a huge thing. Mind problem now, it's another level of disease nowadays. What is the purpose of suffering, Krishna? Why am I suffering in this world? That are the real questions. You know, I'll tell you something very powerful. That question is not a weakness. Hence again in yesterday's class, His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhuji, he said that to ask a question is not a sign of a weakness. To ask a help is not a sign of a weakness. That is actually the strength. How? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a famous example of Dhruva Maharaj, a young boy, not a retired person, not someone who said, I will practice my spiritual life after I turn 60. He had a burning question. He had that burning desire, passion to know the truth, ultimate truth. And that sincerity of him attracted the guidance of Narad Muni. And that's how you attain the perfection. So the courage to ask a deeper question is what the ability that we have been given as compared to animals. Animals won't, the moment you hit a dog, he won't ask you, अरे तूने मारा क्यों मुझे? He can't. He will just shout and bark and that's it. Animals they will attack you. वो अटैक इससे करते हैं इंस्टिंक्ट में, डिफेंड करने के लिए. बट दे वोंट आस्क, मैंने क्या किया था, क्यों मुझे मारा, क्यों नहीं, या मुझे खाने के टाइम पर तुमने क्यों नहीं दिया खिला के, जो पेट डॉग्स होते हैं, नहीं. यू नो, सो दैट इज वेयर यू नीड टू हैव अ करेज टू आस्क डीपर क्वेश्चन. इट इज सेड दैट सवाल छोटे हों तो जिंदगी छोटी लगती है. सवाल छोटे हों तो जिंदगी छोटी लगती है. अगर यही सवाल गहरे हों तो जिंदगी का मतलब खुलने लगता है. Getting it? So ask deeper questions of your life that you ask like today. What happens when inquiry becomes genuine? When you have a genuine inquiry, I really have a question, then it leads to your next gift. And inquiry basically is the doorway. And when you open that door and enter in a room, what you found inside the room is bliss. Bliss is nothing but happiness. By the way, let me clarify a very important point. Most people now, they get confused with pleasure and happiness. With pleasure and with bliss. Let's see how. Pleasure depends on conditions. It may depend on your mood. It may depend on your money. It may depend on your people around. It may depend on environment that you are living with. It may depend on someone's approval. Then it may also depend on your comfort. But bliss or happiness is something very deeper. Bliss actually is one of the qualities of the soul, and that is nothing but inner satisfaction. What are those 3 golden words that we can say to Krishna? I know I love you, Krishna, of course, but how would you describe Krishna more? What is that unique qualities of Krishna? The 3 words. Those are the golden words. What if someone asks who is God? Of course, you will then say 6 opulences who has, he is called as a God. But apart from that, he has 3 more loving. Yes. Sat, Chit, Anand. Eternity, knowledge and bliss. Anand is bliss. And we say that, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loka. We are nothing but a fragmental part and parcel of Krishna. If Krishna has that Ananda feature, we also have that Ananda feature, but in a very minute quantity. So we also need to have a happiness. Pleasure actually is nothing but an excitement, and happiness is actually a fulfillment. इसलिए people run towards nowadays to pleasure, and especially the youth, they are drowning in stimulation. जो momentary pleasures मिल रहे ना, they are thinking यही happiness है, and they drown in that momentary happiness. But they actually not drowning. When do you say drowning? जैसे आप पानी बहुत सारा भरा है, आप डूब रहे हो तो बोलोगे drowning, तो पानी का quantity ज़्यादा है, इसलिए बोलोगे drowning. But actually those people are starving. They are not drowning. They are starving from the inner fulfillment. For them, they appear that they are drowning in the pleasure and everything, but actually they are starving. They are not drowning even. Let me make it very practical. If you scroll reels for 1 hour, you will say, nice, I got a good video. Then after 20 minutes, after 40 minutes, why am I still here? And after 60 minutes, I am bored. Tell me, can you scroll your Insta and all that, but for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours? Maximum I would say अगर ज़्यादा रहेगा तो 1-2 hours. Honestly कोई रहेगा तो बोलेगा 4 घंटा प्रभु जी और मैं कर सकता हूँ. और ट्रैवल कर रहा तो प्रभु जी 2 दिन तो कर ही सकता हूँ, क्योंकि ट्रैवल में तो क्या ही करना रहता है ट्रेन ट्रैवल्स में. You know, nowadays binge culture, Netflixing, बाप रे, सीरीज तो पूछो नहीं. आए दिन कुछ ना कुछ. that माता जी was saying ना, कौन सी सीरीज थी? Stranger Things. N number of series, N number of things are coming just to hook you up in the entertainment factor, and people are binge watching. My friends, professional colleagues, when they get Saturday, Sunday, they will just design a list. I'll finish watching this, I'll finish watching this, I'll finish watching this. बोला अरे तेरे पास तो 10 के बैठ दिखेगा. नहीं, I'll just यहाँ से निकलूँगा ना, ट्रेन में जाते जाते स्टार्ट कर दूँगा, और मंडे लॉग इन करने तक मैं दिखता हूँ. तो सोता कब है? हो जाता है, तो वो पता नहीं है, तो वो टेस्ट नहीं मिला वो. ओके, मुझे टेस्ट नहीं मिला है वो. That's what the binge culture is. एक एपिसोड एक सीरीज और, एक एपिसोड और, एक सीरीज और, फिर नींद पक्की ये दिल का वादा है. एक एपिसोड और, एक सीरीज और, फिर नींद पक्की ये दिल का वादा है. सुबह पता चलता है वादे में ही आधा दिन ज़्यादा है. Getting it? That's how the things are. And we at the time, you ask what you watched the best series in 2012, and you still remember कि that's my all the go series. Still you will find newer entertainment today, and फिर वो भी देख के कुछ 10 अगर बोरी होने वाले हो. That is actually things are. You know why people say I am bored while holding a device that contains the whole world? The device has the whole world. Still you say that I am bored. Ask the question. Interesting. Why do people keep scrolling even when they are tired? देखा कभी? मैं देखा हूँ. Generally when I go from here ना 9:30 10 थोड़ा लेट हो जाता है कभी प्रसादम के चक्कर में, तो 11 भी people थके आ रहे ऑफिस से आए रहते हैं. बोला भाई थोड़ा उसको रख के थोड़ा नींद तो ले लो. नहीं, चलता रहता है ऐसा, झपकी ले रही है. एक के तो हाथ से फ़ोन ही नीचे गिर गया, फिर ऐसा उठ के फिर वो उठाता है करके. That's how people are there. They're tired. Like still they have to scroll. Addiction हो गया जैसे तो. Because you know what? The heart is searching for Ananda, that happiness. But they are looking in the wrong apps. External fun, you know how it is? External fun is like a packet of chips. Have you ever bought a packet of chips? Looks big. 20 वाला packet. Mostly with air. Yeah? Inner bliss is like a full meal when you get a full prasadam at home, cooked by your mom. Dal, chawal, rice, bhaji, papad, achar, few good sweets. That is the full meal. That gives you inner satisfaction ना. और खाने के बाद फिर ढिकार भी थोड़ा आ जाता है कि I feel now satisfied. Getting it? You know, जो बाहर मिलता है वो कभी पूरा नहीं होता, जो बाहर मिलता है वो कभी पूरा नहीं होता, जो अंदर खिलता है वो कभी अधूरा नहीं होता. That is what the true sense of happiness. So you got it clearly. The problem is not outside, the problem is inside. Sense pleasure, you know how exactly it is. That sense pleasure is like a phone battery at 5%. It's alive, but you have a panic attack. ये कब ये खत्म हो जाएगा? That is how the sense pleasure is. That bliss is like being connected to the stable power source. And how is that stable power source? Where do you find that source of everything? In Krishna. Because He is the entire emanating of everything. He is the ultimate source. He is the ultimate cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. So, in the Gita there is a profound teaching. It is said that Krishna says, you can forcefully control the senses for some time. You can definitely control the senses for some time. Rishis, sages, we have heard so many pastimes, they would have controlled their senses. For them it was for us it's a longer period. For them they were living in a higher duration of life. For them it was a shorter period. They can control the senses for some time, but the taste remains the same. Real change happens when you experience a higher taste. That means if you only fight with bad habits, you may win for a week. If you want to fight with your bad habits, go ahead with that. You may try to win it. You see people that when they try to give up their smoking or alcohol consumption, they fight a lot, and somehow they say, many of my colleagues, even my CEO, he smokes like anything, packets and packets. I say, sir, छोड़ दो, it's not good for the health. I'm trying to कम कर रहा हूँ, एक पैकेट कम किया है और आधा अभी आया ऐसा, बट होता नहीं है वो, कुछ टाइम के लिए रहता है, फिर I get that craving and all that part. So if you only fight with your bad habits, it can get controlled, but only for a week. But after that week, you become weak. But if you develop a higher taste of happiness, then the bad habit itself loses the attraction. Okay? I got reminded of a beautiful line used by His Grace Krishna Gaur Prabhuji in his classes. He says, while addressing to the youth, he says, you cannot say no to Maya. It's never, you cannot say no to Maya. It's difficult. Most of the time it's very impossible part. But you can always choose to say yes to Bhakti. You can always choose to say yes to Krishna. So the solution is not only stop this. The solution is you replace that thing with something higher. Something higher, what could it be for us as a Vaishnavas? We have something higher in the name of chanting the names of Krishna, Mahamantra. Meaningful association we have. Then we have service that pleases our heart. Then we have Prasadam. We have a spiritual inquiry to be done by reading our scriptures, getting us the clarity part. So bliss actually has a symptom. When you start finding bliss in your life now, it has a symptom. जैसे कोई बीमारी हो जाती है, आपको सिम्टम्स पता चलता है ना, जब आपको खुशी मिलने लगे ना, आनंद, तो सिम्टम्स ये हैं, you get a clarity, you have steadiness on that path, and you get an inner confidence with happiness. That are the symptoms of bliss, that you are blissful living. Now, bliss or happiness doesn't come by accident. ऐसा होता है कि bliss accident से आ सकता है? Bliss is not a forced thing. It comes only when it is invited. And invitation needs choice. Right? Bliss grows when we use the next human gift, that is our choices. A human being has free will and responsibility. All of you agree? You all have a free will, even I have a free will. You had a free will to come, you had a free will to not come. Very clear? And you have a responsibility also towards yourself and towards the near and dear ones. Choice is not small. Choice is sacred. How? Because love requires choice. To love someone, you need a choice to love someone. You can't love a very random person. You need a choice. Why should I love that person? Love requires choice. Growth requires choice. Character requires choice. Even good values requires choice. Animals, they mostly run on instincts. They can't choose. नहीं नहीं ये शिकार नहीं, अच्छा ठीक है ये शिकार नहीं, नहीं ठीक है ये शिकार नहीं, जो मिला है भाई यही है मेरे पास, इंस्टिंक्ट पे काम करते हैं. बट ह्यूमंस कैन पॉज एंड डिसाइड. ओके, बट हियर्स द रियलिटी, many humans they don't make choices only, they make reactions and they don't choose generally, they drift. And drifting by the way is also a choice, correct? If you, there are two people, one decides to come to AFAC school, he had a choice. There is another guy who had a choice and he came with a bike and he plans, okay let me explore the entire Chembur area. He drifted, even that was his choice. जैसे कि मैं डिसीजन कर लूँगा, ये भी डिसीजन ही तो है, और बस प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कल कभी आता ही नहीं है. So your life is basically the sum total of small choices that you take throughout your life, what you consume, whom you follow, and what you repeat every day. Every swipe is a choice, whether you swipe a Insta or a YouTube or anything on the phone. Every friend circle is a choice. You can choose to be with him or with her, with nobody. That is also a choice. Every late night habit is also a choice. Most of the people are struggling with their late night habit. And Krishna proves this very respectfully in the Bhagavad Gita. One of the most encouraging and empowering things of the Bhagavad Gita is the 18th chapter. You know what happens? Krishna gives Arjuna the entire knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, entire clarity, entire guidance, and then he says, "Oh Arjuna, think about it fully what I have said and do what you choose." Which means that Krishna gives light, a path to walk ahead, the wisdom, and it's you who has to make a decision whether to make a choice, whether to walk on that path holding the hands of Krishna or not. Hence again, His Grace Shubhavilas Prabhuji, again while sharing that story, Krishna chose Arjuna chose material wealth, while Krishna said that to Agnidev, that gave me a boon so that I remain an eternal friend of Arjuna. That's where Arjuna then got a chance to choose Narayani Sena and Krishna, whom he chose? Krishna. Why he chose to walk the path ahead? By holding his hands. He gave that first attempt to let Krishna hold my hand, and Krishna being so merciful, he said, हाथ मैं पूरी जिंदगी का डोर ही तुम्हारा संभालता हूँ. And that's how the entire Rath was in the hand of the Krishnas. Yeah. So you have a choice. So spirituality actually it's not a coercion. दबाव नहीं है. It's actually awakening agency. When you come all this part now, when you hear, it awakens the agency that have the thinking capacity to choose the right thing. And a lot of people, they have a choice either to come, be a part of this association or not. It's completely their individual choice. You know, it is said that किस्मत से ज़्यादा बोलते हैं ना डेस्टिनी सब लिखते हैं, बट एक्चुअली दैट्स नॉट ट्रू. किस्मत से ज़्यादा फैसले कहानी लिखते हैं. किस्मत से ज़्यादा फैसले कहानी लिखते हैं. हम रोज़ छोटे हाँ बोलकर बड़ा कल खरीदते हैं. आज एक छोटा हाँ बोलोगे तो कल एक जाके बड़ा कल खरीद सकते हो. किस्मत तो क्या है, होगी कुछ तो, बट जो आपके आज फैसले लोगे ना, जो आज चॉइसेस लोगे, जो आज डिसाइड करोगे डिटर्मिनेशन के साथ, वही आपका कल संवारेगा. कल की डेस्टिनेशन कुछ भी हो सकती है, बट आपकी चॉइसेस आपके डेस्टिनी को भी चेंज कर सकती हैं. डिसीजंस डिटरमाइंस डेस्टिनी. दैट्स द 3D आर्ट ऑफ द सक्सेस. मे बी वी कैन हैव सम क्लास ऑन दैट डे. सो let's do a quick audit of your choices. Ask yourself a question. Honestly, just keep your answers with you. What is that one thing that influences you most right now? Or who is that one person in your life who influences you the most? Ask that one question to yourself. By seeing whom you get influence. Which relationship influences your mood the most? Be that relationship with your parents or brother, sister, or maybe love if married. What that one relationship that influences your mood? What that one habit that steals your time the most? Even that is a choice. So I'll give you a simple formula to filter these choices. So will this questions, when you get an answer, will this increase a clarity or a confusion? Choose between clarity over a confusion. Will this increase my strength or put me to a weaknesses? Ask that question. Will this bring peace to me, happiness to me, or just I'll get more agitated after spending 6 hours of Netflix also? That's where you can filter it. And when you get these answers, be careful, because you can't, I'm not saying that you'll be perfect, just be conscious. Nobody is perfect, but everybody can be conscious. You know, choice is like what? Have you been any? मैं एक बार शादी में गया था, not अपने डिवोटी की शादी में, ऐसे जनरली फ्रेंड्स के थ्रू. It was a grand, lavish, entirely 7-star होटल में with a grand buffet and everything. देखा है buffet कैसा लगा रहता है? Choice is like that buffet. Just because it's available doesn't mean everything is edible. इतने सारे options रहते हैं ना, everything is available, that doesn't mean it's edible. Some options are literally nice looking poison. Getting it? So, if you choose the right thing, can you stick to that? Can you stick to that when you choose the right thing? No, not for a longer time. And hence, the D comes the determination. Now, the D part, you know, determination, it comes when your motivation dies. Motivation is a visitor, but determination is a resident. Visitor आते और जाते रहते हैं, resident रहते हैं. Motivation says, I feel like doing it, but determination says, I do it because it is right. I want to get up in the morning, I want to study for my classes, I have to prepare my exam, not because I feel like doing it, because I have to do it because that is the right part. Getting it? Your future does not depend on your moods. If that was the case, we would never have any brilliant minds in the country then. It depends on your habits, on your small choices. And habits are built by determination. You know, James, in our Vaishnava tradition, we celebrate appearance day and disappearance day of various glorious personalities. I'm just trying to borrow that, thoda sa as well. James' enthusiasm and appearance is on day 1 and disappearance is on day 7. That is how it happens. जज्बात हवा की तरह हैं, बदलते रहते हैं. जज्बात हवा की तरह हैं, बदलते रहते हैं. इरादे पहाड़ की तरह हैं, टिक जाए तो रास्ता बन जाता है. इरादे होने चाहिए वैसे मजबूत. अच्छा, let me ask you a very important question. Which is the most productive day out of the 7 days? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Which is the most productive day? देखा क्या बात है. Nice. Saturday, Monday, ठीक है. Now, let me flip the question. If I just don't say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in general, which is the most productive day? The first day. Sorry. I'm not getting it. Day one. Day 1 is the first day. Okay. The day 1. Any other questions?
The day I see my peers growing and outgrowing myself is the most productive day.
Perfect. I'll tell you the answer. Tomorrow is the most productive day. जानना है कैसे? Because everyone plans to work tomorrow. I'll study tomorrow. I'll start good habit tomorrow. I'll chant more rounds tomorrow. And the fun fact is that tomorrow never comes. That was just a joke to make you understand. Tomorrow actually is not a productive day because everything resides in your present. The day that you choose the day 1, or maybe that you think that I'm growing out karke. Same thing in the Gita, Arjuna admits to Krishna that mind is difficult to control. Oh Krishna, chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavat dhridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayor ivasu dushkaram. Chanchalam, the mind is flickering. Pramathi, it is agitating. Balavat, that is, it is a strong. Gridam, it is obstinate, which means that the mind is restless, stubborn, obstinate, turbulent. It can't be controlled, O Krishna. And even it can't be controlled when I know that how to control the wind also. And in the very next verse, if you read, na, Krishna also agrees this part. Oh yeah, it's very difficult. I understand, Arjuna, asamshayam mahabaho. Because I agree it is difficult, but it can be managed. How? Krishna says by abhyasena vairagyena. Abhyasena is practice, vairagyena is detachment. Okay, what do you understand by the word detachment? छोड़ो घर द्वार चलो, छोड़ो घर बार चलो हरिद्वार. ऐसा तो डेफिनेशन नहीं है ना आप लोग का detachment. What do you understand by the word detachment?
Living something which is not extremely important for living.
Quite good, yeah. Anything else? It could be for different people, different meaning of detachment. So basically, practice means daily repetition. That's where we chant the 16 rounds. कुछ भी हो जाए, बिना 16 माला खत्म किए we don't sleep. Detachment is not feeding unnecessary distractions. That is also detachment. Leaving something which is not substantially good for your living. Leave that thing, even that is a detachment. So determination is not violence against the mind. It is training the mind, just like training a muscle in the gym. Again, we heard the Dhruva story. Dhruva was young. He had a strong storm of emotions, but he did not waste his emotion in complaining. He converted his emotion into discipline. And that's where when we say disciple, the word disciple borrows first the word discipline. One person who is disciplined, then only he can call himself as a disciple. And that is the difference between a person who grows in the life and who gets stuck in the life. The person who gets stuck in the life, they repeatedly express the same emotion again and again and again and again. But the person who grows in the life, they channel their emotion into action. Okay? So Dhruva teaches us as a youth that don't wait to be old to be serious. बोलते ना बूढ़े होंगे थोड़ा 40-50 में पहुँचेंगे ना तो लाइफ को सीरियस लेंगे तो हम सीरियसनेस लाएंगे. Is that really necessary that आपको बूढ़ा ही होना तो सीरियस बनोगे? Then Dhruva proves you wrong, my friends. It is not the case. You can be young and deep. You can be young and committed. You can be young and consciously deeply committed to your life. Right? I'll give you 3 practical system, that is 3S. 3 steps and 3S. That is Sankalpa. Take one small vow that daily for 10 minutes I'll read something. Daily for 10 minutes I'll chant for extra round. Or maybe I'll do some spiritual activity, or maybe whatever that you want to build a habit as such. Or maybe it could be not using my phone when I get up for first 30 minutes or half an hour, maybe 1 hour. That is a sankalpa. Then you have system. Fixed time, fixed place, same time, same place. You know, people when they sit for chanting, I have a habit of having that one place for chanting because I get very consciously prepared for my mood. So, and even people who study, they have like a proper place hona chahiye so that I get that environment and everything. That is what nothing but a system. Because our willpower is weak, but systems are strong. Then third S is Satsang, that is association, that is the accountability and responsibility. One friend, one group will help you. This is also Satsang and association that will help you to grow. Because lone warriors who walk on the path when they want to fight, they break easily. But strong teams, they grow with the life. They grow stronger. And without system, even determination becomes decoration. Ask the working professionals, they understand now, if there is no determination, everything just appears to be a decoration for that matter. So just to sum it up everything, the A was the ability for spiritual inquiry. Ask the right questions, not shallow questions. Ask something deeper questions to your life. B, bliss. Don't chase only stimulation or pleasure or momentary happiness. Look something for higher happiness, inner fulfillment and satisfaction. C was choices. Your life is built on small daily choices. What you consume, what you follow, whom you follow, and what you repeat every day. D is determination. Stick to the right choices with practice, discipline, and association. Because you can be young and confused, but choose to be young and consciously aware of everything. So that's how the entire ABCD, the things have been given by God to us and awarded to us. And just to draw some parallel to this, in the Vaishnavas we say that for us the ABCD is the association, books, chanting and tithe. So when you first bring yourself to the higher rung of understanding of human life, then you get this ABCD. And when you enter in the spiritual atmosphere of Vaishnavas community, then you understand that I have a higher definition of ABCD also. So no matter you have taken a birth by learning the ABCD, today also you learned an ABCD, and as you grow, you will still learn the ABCD. The only difference is that with time, ABCD will have something else to say with you all. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.